Hey everybody, this is Perch. Valentine's Day in the rearview mirror. So hopefully you got whatever you were looking for on Valentine's Day. You know what? I'm not going to make those jokes again. Anyway, on Marvel.com, they are blessing us with Marvel creators on their favorite Marvel couples, and this is a big step for Marvel, acknowledging that there are couples at all. And but I'm sad to tell you, I brace yourself now. This is a trigger warning. Some of the couples that Marvel will mention here um, are straight couples. I know we were not expecting to have the taste of bigotry in our mouths when we went to Marvel, but a couple of creators here did actually mention opposite sex couples as their favorite couples, which is thoroughly disappointing. Do better, Marvel. But I'm, I'm exaggerating. Hopefully, I'm exaggerating. I don't know. I make little jokes like this, and everybody's like, "So you see, that's proof he's one of the bad ones." It's like, I don't know. The bad audio is proof I'm one of the bad ones. I mean, there's, I don't know. I make jokes. Sometimes they're terrible. Most of the time, they're terrible. I admit it, but I am right about a lot of things. For example, fuck Arby's. Anyway, let's look into them some of these. So I'm curious your favorite couples, but again, I go back to my earlier statement. It's kind of a big step for Marvel to acknowledge that couples, are a thing at all, considering that, as you know, previous stated Marvel policy was that relationships were icky and full of cooties, and were impossible for kids to understand. So that's why they have to destroy them at every possible turn. Anyway, let's take a look at what we've got here. So we have a kind of an odd collection of people that Marvel talked to. I'm guessing an email went out and a few people responded. So we got Lucas Wernick. He is the artist for Sins of Sinister and the Immoral X-Men. And he basically, Lucas, I shouldn't be assuming anything here. Lucas basically says, classic couple, Jean Grey and Scott Summers. Likes Jean and Scott. But does admit that Scott and Emma also had a little something, something. And it doesn't say it there, but, does kind of open the door to that, Scott sandwich, but that Jean, Emma, Scott, thruple. So there you have it. Scott Jean for me was never a great couple. Can I throw that out? I mean, like, I don't know. I read comics for a long time. It's like Scott was always kind of a douche before he got together with, Jean. And then, she died. And then he got together with her twin or her clone. And then he abandoned the clone and the baby to go be with Jean again. And then he marries Jean. And then, he sleeps around with Emma and then she dies. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I never liked that pairing too much. I just didn't, but it's just me. All right. Next, we have Juan Cabal, who's the artist for Black Panther and Cosmic Ghost Rider. And Juan Cabal says Falabelle and Moondragon. So that's Guardians of the Galaxy, Al Ewing. Kind of that coupling. You can't credit Al Ewing for that couple. I think they had connected before. I thought. I don't know. It's not a bad. Again, I make the joke, but when you're thinking about kind of LGBTQ relationships, I mentioned before in a different video that Midnight and Apollo was that's how you do it. By and large, Falabelle Moondragon, I think is done relatively well. They do have a lot of scenes where like the two of them are just holding each other in bed and that kind of stuff. But they, in fairness, they do actually get out there and go on adventures together, and that's. So you do get, it's not just about, look, we're lovers. We're love time over here. It's more than that. All right. Stephanie Williams, writer of Wakanda Marvel's Voices and Infinity Comic. Does anybody give a flying fuck about the Infinity Comics, by the way? I mean, nobody reads those at all, unless it's X-Men Green, and we're all pissed off. Anyway. Stephanie says She-Hulk and Wyatt Wingfoot. Kind of a deep cut. Good for them. I like that relationship. I thought that was a pretty good one. That was, very heavily used during the Byrne era of the Fantastic Four. And I agree. That relationship was a good relationship. All right. Steve Orlando, writer, and I use that term loosely, Scarlet Witch, Marauders. He says Iceman and Romeo. Okay. I forgot that Romeo was a thing. I mean, okay. That's your favorite relationship? Your favorite? Okay. Well, I mean, well, thanks, Steve Orlando. Thanks for checking in, Steve Orlando. All right. Carmen Carnero, artist of Captain America: Son of Liberty, picks Steve Rogers and Sharon Carter, and Carmen finds it sweet that he's still with her after all these years. All right. That's another one. That's another one where I think you like they kill her and then she's back and then they're in a relationship. Like, are they in a relationship now? I don't think so, but maybe. I can't tell. They need to get the captains together. I'll just go with that. Like Captain Marvel, Captain America, power couple, power captains. Why not? It's downvote this video. Anyway, Luciano Vecchio, artist of Marvel's Voices Iceman Infinity comic. Okay. Luciano picks Wiccan and Hulkling, which I think is probably Marvel's equivalent of Midnight or Apollo, of a couple that was established, at the beginning. Did a relatively good job of, having them have adventures. There was that Infinity comic where they wanted to, the problem with those two characters is that I feel like they had adventures and they were doing things back when they were, not featured very much. And then when Marvel decided to lean in more and actually have them get married, then suddenly, like, that's the end of the adventures. Like, we're done. And now when they do a comic with the two of them, it's all about like, oh, what are those two wacky lovebirds up to? They're like having to do kingdom stuff in space. And I mean, it'd be great if. And you don't even have to do a comic with both of them. Have like, Hulkling has to do something with the scrolls. I don't know. He's got to do something as Emperor, and he has to go out on an adventure, and bad shit happens. He's got to escape it and use his wits about him. And you don't really feature Wiccan very much. And like you could have him at the end, like, I was worried about you or whatever. But just you need to have some stories where the two of them get some things to do besides each other. You don't. I'm not saying erase the relationship. I did that other video where I was talking about like, look, let these characters be the heroes. Let them have adventures. Let them be human. And somebody gets a very nasty email like, you just want to erase all gay characters. Like, no, I don't. Let the look. Midnighter and Apollo and Authority was a perfect example. You couldn't read an issue of that comic. Well, maybe that's not true, but like almost every issue of that comic, they did remind you that they're gay, that they're in a relationship. They reminded you, but they reminded you like while they're beating the shit out of people. Midnighter's like, that's why I love you, Apollo. Punch, punch, punch. Or they go on some adventure, they kiss, and then they go back to, fighting and doing their thing. That they didn't spend like pages like, you're the best. I acknowledge you. You are my tribal chief. None. It's just none of that stuff. That's what Wiccan and Hulkling need. But anyway, so that's the relationships that Marvel coughs up. So a few things missing for that list. Obviously, Reed Richards and Sue. I guess nobody likes those two. I mean, gross. It's like your parents. That's apparently how that goes. Daredevil and Elektra, currently going. Okay, on again, off again relationship, but that seems like they're married now. Or they're hand married, right? They're not, they're that's not real married. It's like ninja married. It's a different thing, completely different. Easy to erase later. When Daredevil goes and fucks a mobster's wife again. But you've got, nobody in Marvel's going to say Peter Parker and Mary Jane. I mean, that's just being crazy. There. Nobody went with North Star and North Star's husband, who I am forgetting the name of. I shouldn't. Nobody seems to like the Captain Britain Rachel Summers pairing, so you got that. Um, I think overall with these relationships, yeah, fine. I think Marvel should do more with Wiccan and Hulkling. Yeah, absolutely. It is, particularly like, you want to spotlight LGBTQ characters. Great, you got two that were built that way from the start. Have had lots of good organic character development. It's not now that they're married, they're not dead. I think that's the problem overall with Marvel and relationships is there is this, once they get married, then fuck it, they're done. You know, marriage equals death, says Marvel Comics. I think I think that's true. I think Marvel does feel that way, or they certainly seem to, because I mean, even in this list, you did get Wiccan and Hulkling, which are space married, but the other actually married couples, like Marvel couldn't give a damn about. I don't know. Why is marriage just a complete, you know, why? Why? By the way, are Jean Grey and Cyclops married? I mean, since they've died a few times, is that marriage annulled? I don't know. Anyway, how does that work in Krakoa? Are you mute married? Are you? All right. Anyway, there you go. I'm headed to the airport. So old Perch is going on the road again. You would not know that because I've stacked up like 30 videos to just run. So like I always say, if I crash and die, hey, you'll get a few weeks of content before it goes dark forever. So hey, how's that for a pitch? Uh, let me know who your favorite couples are. Did Marvel get it right? I'm curious to get your take on it. Maybe you could explain why marriage is apparently a dirty word over at the House of Ideas. Thanks for listening.